Time now for a very melodramatic unboxing of the OnePlus 5 8GB version. Now do remember, I've already said this, this is not the box you're going to be buying in the market. This is just our preview pack. I think inside is what we'll get is to the retail box. Let's get started. Okay, let's open this out. Isko khol lete hain. Never settle. Yes, well, with the OnePlus, we've learned not to do that. And this is the box that you're going to get. This is the box you'll be buying. Of course, if you're buying the 8GB version, I don't think there'll be a difference in terms of the boxes between the other versions and the 8GB. Isko kholne se pehle, let's take a look what else is inside. So again, I don't think you'll be getting this, but this is the carbon fiber cover that comes with this. This is something they've given us, I think. Another one, okay, there are quite a few covers. So, okay, so that's pretty much our preview pack. Let's get down to the big one. This is where I think I need this. So, shuru karte hain, the big one. This is where we get down to the actual phone. Always feels good. It smells nice. Always smells really nice. New phone smell, like a new car smell. Ooh, here we go. Okay, nicely tightly sealed in. Here it is. The OnePlus 5 8GB version. Baki, of course, typical cheezein hain. Everything else inside will be fairly typical. The documentation and the warranty and everything else. And then, of course, the dash charge and the very famous OnePlus red cable. So the unboxing is done. The phone is with me right now. Let's take a look. The OnePlus 5, a very detailed, in-depth review.
It's difficult to build a great top-of-the-line smartphone, and it's even tougher to build a great smartphone on a budget. OnePlus in the past 4 years has done just that, made super-spec high-end smartphones at great low prices. But when you do that consistently, you also paint a huge target on your back. Expectations go haywire and people expect you to do the impossible every time. And when you use a tagline like "never settled", then it adds even more pressure.
的确，用户的这种期待我们能看到，并且随着我们OnePlus 5已经是第5款产品，随着这个我们新产品推出，这个期待越来越大。当然呢，这对我们是一种压力，但同时这也是一直推动我们前进的一个动力。这就跟我们的 Never Settle 这个口号是一样的。
The build-up to the OnePlus 5 was huge, the buzz deafening, the expectations out of control. But can any company live up to such huge hype? This time with OnePlus 5, they took a step ahead. They wanted to come closer to being a flagship rather than a flagship killer. And we mean not just with specs, but also with the price tags. Is the OnePlus 5 a flagship now or a good old flagship killer? We cannot question the specs. Snapdragon 835 processor and 6GB RAM, and the other variant with 8GB RAM and 128GB internal storage. And wait, there is dual camera too, with 16 and 20 megapixels and one with an aperture of f1.7. It's not the world's first phone to have 8GB, but it is definitely the first 8GB phone to come to India. We tested the 8GB variant and it's ridiculously fast. Open as many apps, multitask, play games, nothing gets stuck in its throat. The only drawback, while we know there is 128GB on board, there should have been a micro SD card slot. Now that's a huge error and we are surprised that they didn't do something about it. The other big feature which OnePlus is highly advertising is the dual camera at the back. While the setup is just like that of iPhone 7 Plus, this camera has more megapixels. But we can't stress enough on how a good camera isn't really dependent on megapixels. Unlike other phones that have two cameras for wide angle or monochrome purposes, the phone has a standard 16 megapixel shooter and a secondary 20 megapixel telephoto lens. The Pro mode lets us play around by giving us manual control for photographing, and OnePlus included new tools like a histogram for adjusting ISO levels and white balance and a leveler. There is portrait mode too, but the 5 doesn't give the best effect every time. The standalone camera is pretty good and so is the low light output. There is no optical image stabilization, which is a bit of a letdown with such a big camera setup. We have to say that though dual camera is a huge addition, it wasn't perfect on the OnePlus 5. However, we have to give OnePlus points for the super fast shutter speed. Unlike other Androids, this clicks really fast. The 16MP front camera gives great and sharp selfies, no complaints here. Talking about design, we have mixed feelings. We mean it's refined, sleek and nice to hold, but then OnePlus didn't really set the stage on fire with its looks. It's just about good and not great. The 5 more or less looks like an Android iPhone, and that's not a good thing. Plus, it still has thick bezels when the world has moved on to bezel-less display. Feels like old stuff. Plus, the 5 isn't waterproof, and that's a huge knock. The fingerprint scanner embedded in the home button is fast and accurate. The full HD 5.5-inch display is bright and clear, and we feel it's okay if OnePlus didn't go higher on the resolution. After all, it keeps the price and battery in check. The interface is clean and simple. It runs on Oxygen OS based on Android 7.0. There is a reading mode now which switches the screen to black and white and makes it more comfortable to read text and images on apps of your choosing, similar to an e-reader. Now this is a really cool addition. You don't have to buy a Kindle anymore. There is a 3300 mAh battery with dash charge. Dash charge is OnePlus's own proprietary that can give full day battery life with just half an hour's charge. It's impressive. That was all on the OnePlus 5 and what it can do. Now let's talk about price. 32,999 rupees for the 6GB variant and 37,999 rupees for the 8GB variant. The perception KF OnePlus is that we will get top-end specs at price points below 30,000 rupees. Now this time OnePlus breaks its price expectation, which was its main selling point all these years. We won't deny that OnePlus 5 is giving us more, but it's charging us more as well. We wish they would have stuck to the original price range of OnePlus 3T. That's the problem when you create such high expectations. Nevertheless, OnePlus 5 may rule the bracket of 30 to 40,000 rupees. Cell Guru verdict: OnePlus did give us a super spec, super fast smartphone, but then it did pinch our heart with its price this time. That said, if you are looking for a super fast Android with specs that can match or beat all other phones, then this is the phone for you.